Hey guys, it's Tams, a Wiki Witch. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all well. I just want to apologise. I have been a little bit vacant. Work has been absolutely insane. And the traffic, well, I don't know what's happened. I don't know what's happened in London and Essex, but the traffic is insane. So it's got me a bit behind this week. Anyway, we are finally doing I think this might be part 7 or video 7 of our new witches stepping onto a pagan path series, and this of course is the wheel of the year, which I have had to record again. I did do a lovely hour-long video which I tried to download over 6 days and I just had to delete it. I could not get it to download. It was pointless. So we're going to try and do just a basic, perhaps half hour, well, it might take a bit longer than that, basic overall view of the wheel of the year. And then what we'll do is all the other little bits that I was waffling about, we're going to have to add them into another part because it just makes it too long. So apologies, I'm looking a bit, I've got no jewellery in my nose. I've been out to work, come back in, going back out later. It's Friday, it's one of those days. PlayStation steering wheel gear stick is in the background and the husband's spin bike is out under the veranda, so you'll have to excuse the mess, but we're doing this video. So welcome to all my new subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing. I'm really going up now. It's fabulous. Yeah, and hopefully now get back onto these new witchy videos because I was really enjoying making them, and got some really nice comments, so I do apologize for that. You know what it's like, sometimes work just gets in the way. Right, let me shut up talking about that. Otherwise we'll have another hour video. So the pagan wheel of the year, okay, this is what pagans and witches and Wiccans and anybody on a pagan path kind of follows throughout the year. This is their celebrations and their important dates that they, that they celebrate, and that they have big festivals and fire festivals and this, that and the other for, and these are all the different things around the year. Okay, so in a shortened version we're doing this. I would have loved to have gone into each Sabbath, and that's what the eight festivals around the year, or the 8 celebrations are called. They're called Sabbaths. Okay, and I would have loved to have gone into depth about what you can do for each one, but I'm gonna have to try and keep it as short as possible because trying to download again on a Friday, I must be crazy. Anyway, so we have the pagan wheel of the year, and if you think of it like a wheel, like a pie chart with eight points all the way round. So straight off you've got your 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you've got your 4 like a pie chart. So you've got your 8, and they are Yule, Imbolc, Ostara, Beltane, Lifa, Lunasad, Mabon, Samhain, and then it goes back to Yule, and they are your 8 all the way around the year. So I have got my dates as well, which I will be glancing down at because I do forget the dates sometimes, and there's a little bit of contradiction with the dates. Okay, so this is old, so nothing's really set in stone, is it? Of course, you've got dates that we're given, give and take. If it goes on a little bit longer, it's not the end of the world. We know some of the dates that really are set for these things, of course, with Samhain. Okay, so Samhain, which is Halloween or Hallows Eve on the 31st, but it's kind of leading up to it and after it that the vow is low. The vow is like where the two worlds, the other world and our world, are very, very thin. And that's where the communication with spirit comes. And this is what's very, very potent and very exciting at Samhain. So see, the dates always there's always a bit of give and take with the dates. But we're going to go with what we've got, what everybody has, which everybody would have and would and that's how you would learn it. So we're going to start with Imbolc, okay? Imbolc is the 2nd of February. Now, it's also known as Candlemas. That's a Christian concept, of course. You may have heard of Candlemas if you're from a Christian background and you're kind of stepping onto the path. You'll probably know Candlemas very well. Imbolc is your original pagan festival, 2nd of February, when we would light candles in the house. We are celebrating in the first signs of spring. You may get a little bit of crocuses showing through the snow, a little bit of greenery. We are celebrating the goddess Bridget and Bridie and making the corn dolls. And there's all these different things, and we're going to go into each one separately because there's so much. And again, we've got to be careful with the time. So Imbolc, it's spelled Imbolc. So it looks like in bulk, but it's actually pronounced Imbolc. Okay, so Imbolc is the 2nd of February. Okay, we move round to Ostara. Ostara is March the 20th to the 23rd, and of course Ostara is where they got Easter from. Ostara is where we celebrate the birth of the spring and the warmer weather and the plants returning, the animals are breeding, mad as a March hare, all the hares are mating, and of course the Easter bunny, Easter, that's where the Christians got Easter from. And then the return of the sun, obviously, you know, they had their own version of that. Without going too in depth there. So that's where your Easter came from. It came from Ostara. Lots of goddesses and gods related to this. Again, we're going to do them separately in depth with colours and things you can do and altar setups and everything. We'll do each one because it will just take ages. I'm not going to say that every time because I could have probably said a lot more things in that time. We then move round to Ostara, obviously the spring equinox. I didn't say that, sorry. So we've got Imbolc, which is spelled Imbolc, but it's Imbolc. Imbolc on February 2nd, and we've got Ostara, the spring equinox, March 20th to the 23rd. We now move round to Beltane, which they call May Eve. Okay, so Beltane is around the end of April. So we're going April the 3rd into the 4th. You always have the bank holiday of May Day on the 4th. This comes in with Beltane. So for me, Beltane is around the 4th. A lot of people say from the 3rd of April. And again, it doesn't matter, whatever you wish to do with that. Of course, Beltane, you've got your people dancing around the maypole representing fertility. Everybody's dancing. And now we're kind of we're already into spring and we're heading towards summer. So Beltane is one of the real popular festivals with the big bonfires. And you know, if you've ever seen the pictures down in Cornwall and Glastonbury where they're celebrating Beltane and the May Day celebrations, absolutely crazy. There's lots of green man attire and yeah, really cool. So that's Beltane, and Beltane is spelled Beltane. Beltane. Okay. So summer solstice. Summer solstice is also known as Litha. Litha is spelled Litha. So Litha is our summer solstice. Obviously you may have Midsummer Night's Dream, you know, is your Midsummer Night's Eve. All of those stories, very big on the fae, the fairy folk. And yeah, it's usually, we hope, in the UK, very warm. I love summer solstice eve. I just love it. People go down to Stonehenge and, you know, have big celebrations, and that is around June the 20th to the 23rd of June. Okay, so that's your summer solstice. We then move round to Lunarsed and Lammas. Now, some people call it Lammas, some people call it Lunarsed. It's August Eve, and again we are looking at around the 1st of August for this. And Lunarsad, now I have to look at this, is spelled Lughnasadh or Lammas, Lammas. Lunarsad, obviously the god Lu, Lugh, very big, very potent for this time. And again, we are coming out slowly of summer, still in August, still summer, but just starting to prepare for that harvest, for for the gatherings of the harvest and all that kind of stuff. If you remember being at school as you approached the August, September when you were little and you started to do the harvest festivals and all that kind of stuff. So it's very big on that kind of stuff for Lughnasadh or Lammas, okay? So, and the reason there are two different names, a lot of different traditions of witches, pagans use the two different names for it. A little bit like Lifa, most people call it the summer solstice. It's called Lifa, it's called midsummer, and obviously Lammas and Lughnasadh, the same thing. So we move round into September. We are looking at September the 20th to the 23rd, and this is the fall equinox, okay? So the fall equinox is called Mabon, and that is spelled M-A-B-O-N. Mabon is your harvest, where you've gathered everything and you've cut it down and you've gathered your harvest for the year. It's very much looking at now you're storing away, and you know, your moons start to be very red. Your moons start to be very red. You've got your blood moon and your hunter's moon, and the reason they called that is because of the gathering of the food now to put away for winter, and that's why your moons were named after that time of the year. So, you know, sounds pretty gross, but your blood moon, your hunter's moon, that's all to do with slaughtering of animals. So that you needed to store away, because again, with going back many moons ago, you did not have supermarkets where you just popped down and bought your dinner. These people had to grow it, kill it, prepare it and put it away and store it so that they could survive until everything started to grow again. And again, this is why you did have the odd sacrificed goat, and I'm sure there was probably some human ones as well, and people get all squinky about that. But that's what happened in these very old times. People weren't educated, like, although it's probably still happening now actually somewhere, in some of these countries, where they would slaughter an animal in like a ritual to some sort of god or goddess to give them a good crop, because these people needed that crop or the whole town was going to, you know, wouldn't survive. So that's where some of that tradition would come from. And we know that it did. We know that people did slaughter goats and animals now and then to try and get blood on the ground, to get a good harvest from the gods and get, you know, the gods have blessed us with this good harvest. And this was a major big deal to those people. You know, they didn't really need to do that, but they felt they did all those years and years and years and years ago. We're going back many moons. So, of course, nowadays we don't do things like that. Maybe some countries do, where it's more kind of wild or tribal. But we don't do things like that anymore, and there isn't any need to do that. You can have a ritual without doing things like that. So that's where I think people get very confused and think that the whole pagan society is all crazy murderers. Of course, it's just stupid. It's just very old tradition that, you know, back then they didn't know any different, and they thought that they were, you know, they had to do that to get worthy of gods and goddesses to give them a good crop, and obviously that was never the case. So yeah, so that's your Mabon, your fall equinox. As we go round, as the weather changes now, and we're kind of heading towards the winter, and we have Samhain. And Samhain, of course, is the 31st of October. It is All Hallows Eve. It is also Halloween. It's spelt Samhain, S-A-M-H-I-N. Some people call it Samhain in America. It is pronounced Samhain, as in S-O-W-E-E-N, but with a apostrophe, Samhain. Very steep in Celtic and Gaelic history. Obviously, your original trick-or-treat Halloween situations came from Ireland, and when the Irish went out as settlers and settled in America, they took it with them. So we look at Halloween as being the coolest thing in America. I'm massive, as you know, if you watch this channel, I love Halloween and everything that comes with it. But in America, it's massive, and it is getting bigger over here, but it actually comes from Ireland. That's where a lot of the traditions came from. And I actually made a video. I might have made two, and if you look through my playlists, my Witchcraft and Pagan playlist, you'll see that I made, I think, two for Samhain and folklore as well, and it talks about all of the Irish traditions and what they used to do, and the things that they used to decorate with, and the things that they were terrified of, that they were trying to drive away, one of the things that some of the Irish folks would have had out all those many hundreds of years ago on the 31st of October, on Samhain, would have been some sort of bells hanging on the front door, which is actually known as a devil driver, which would drive away the bad spirits. Obviously it's where the band, one of my favourite bands, got its name from, Devil Driver. Kind of like a set of bells, maybe not pretty like this, but that sort of thing, where the wind would blow and they would be driving away the bad spirits and the bad omens and any bad juju that might be coming their way, because of this time is a very dark time of the year. Now people go, oh, dark goddesses and dark gods and a dark time of the year. Actually, it's because it is a dark half of the year. The nights are darker. It's getting darker because we're going forward to winter, okay? And obviously the dark goddesses and gods kind of come in at this time. So people get a little bit confused and a little bit mixed up with it. You've got very big personalities in the goddess and gods scene, if you will. Some very big names come up at this time of year. So with your Samhain, your most well known is the Morrigan, the goddess Morrigan, who, if you watch my channel a lot, you'll know that obviously I've worked with Morrigan for many years. She is she's been my matron goddess for many years. And Morrigan is a very big at this time of year. This is there's all sorts of stories. I don't have time to go into them all, but you've got your Morrigan. She's the dark goddess, the phantom queen, goddess of the fairies, the land, fertility, the war goddess, goddess of chaos. She's classed as a demon goddess. Bit stupid, I think, with that name, but that's what they call her. There's a cave in Ireland, can't remember the name where it is, but that's supposed to be where she comes from, especially at this time of year. She comes out and, you know, upsets children, and a lot of it obviously is folklore and scary stories, you know, a bit like your Baba Yaga stories to scare the kids away. But obviously for the pagan people, like myself and like you guys watching, we believe that a lot of the mythology and the stories, we believe ourselves that these are all the true stories of the goddesses and gods that we all worship. Okay, so that's where that's kind of trying to break it down into sort of layman's terms of how pagans, you know, that's how pagans feel, you know, bit like all your Egyptian mythology. It's not mythology to us. These are your gods and goddesses, okay? And just like with your Irish or your Celtic or your Scottish or Welsh, whatever it may be, English goddesses and gods, this is what we feel is, you know, obviously these are all your true stories, and this is where it's come from. It's not stories made up. It's not mythology. This is real. So this has all happened. And now these are our goddesses and gods. So, and that's what a lot of, I would say 99.9% of pagans believe in. I would say that. That's my humble opinion. Somebody might pick me up on that. That's fine, but that's my opinion. So, yeah, Samhain is probably one of the biggest ones. Everybody loves it because also people do enjoy the Halloween for the kids as well. And it kind of combines it all. You can do some fantastic rituals. Shadow working with ancestors. Working with your ancestors is massive at Samhain, but we're going to cover all of that in separate videos for everything. And then we head into winter to Yule. And this is 20th to the 23rd of December. Winter solstice. Christmas. Okay? So as pagans, we still have Christmas and presents and all of that stuff on the 25th, but the 25th don't mean nothing to us apart from it's Christmas. We've already done our lovely rituals and our celebrations for Yule and had all of our bits and pieces that we do for that. And then it's Christmas and we're off work and we'll meet with family and have a drink and all of that good stuff and have food and lots of presents. If you're like me and you like presents, I love buying presents, and it's good fun, and that's all it means to me. So a lot of people, obviously Christians, obviously believe that, you know, this was the day that Jesus Christ was born, and obviously as a pagan, Yule celebrated the birth of the sun, as in the sun in the sky, okay? And the sun was just starting, the sun, so the sun would need to be coming back and just starting to come back potently as we move around again for the growing of the crops. And that's why the worshipping of the sun is so important in the olden days, you know. And everybody was pagan in the olden days before such times as people started, you know, poking in with other things that they'd created. Everybody was pagan. So when Yule and the winter solstice comes and it's dark and there's that glimmer of hope that it's going to change into the lighter or warmer times and crops will grow and animals will breed so everybody can survive another year. And that is where your Yule festivities, your Yule log, you know, you have those chocolate logs at Christmas that originally comes from a piece of wood. People would light this in the hearth. I think it actually would go, I can't remember how many days it goes in the hearth for because I don't actually have a hearth. So I've always just had a candle on for a little bit. But people would actually burn the Yule log for several days over the period of Yule, starting from around the 20th to the 23rd. A lot of people go straight through and do it for over a week, and that's absolutely fine. Just popping back to Samhain, I forgot something. The 31st of October is also the Witch's New Year. Not the calendar New Year, the Witch's New Year. That's when you would make your New Year's resolutions and things that you could create with magic and help, you know, help bring them to be, if you will. So now we're going back to Yule. Sorry about that. So obviously, as we approach the end of Yule, we hit the 1st of January or the 31st of December is the end of the year. New Year's Eve, as we know it, the calendar New Year starts on the 1st of January and we start again. Okay, back to Imbolc, then to Ostara, then to Beltane, then to Lifa, then to Lammas, Lughnasadh, Mabon, Samhain, Yule. That's your wheel of the year. So that's what pagan people follow around the year. They celebrate the 8 Sabbats. Remember, your moons are called Esbats. Your celebrations and your special days, whatever you want to call them, I call them the 8 Sabbats of celebration around the year. They're called Sabbats. So again, you've got 8 of them: Yule, Imbolc, Ostara, Beltane, Lifa, Lughnasadh and Lammas, Mabon, Samhain and Yule. Just make sure I got that in the right order. So yeah, 4 of them are the 5 festivals. As I said, you've got your solstices, winter solstice, you've got your spring equinox, your summer solstice, and your fall equinox on Mabon. So there, and yeah, that's what we do. That's what we follow around the year, a bit like a pie chart. If you just Google wheel of the year, you can print something off. Excuse me, print something off that you can keep and put in your book of shadows, in your grimoire just for now. You might even be able to buy a nice laminated piece of sheet on eBay or somewhere like that somebody's drawn up so that you can see your dates. In a lot of the early witchcraft books for people learning the pagan ways, a lot of Scott Cunningham's book, they're Wiccan books, but again, this is in a lot of Wiccan books. Okay, so a lot of what I practice is some bits of Wicca and other bits as well. So, you know, but it's all kind of covered under the pagan ways. You'll find a lot of pie charts in there that you can use, which is your wheel of the year. And people do them all fancy, and they add all of the horoscope, you know, all of the horoscope and things like that added to it, and goddesses and gods, and who to work with at what times. And then you've all got all your different colours and your different things that you have on your altars. If you're lucky and you've got space, and you can have like a Sabbath altar, so you've got 8 different altars on, you know, you could set them up 8 different times. That's great. All different colours. Yeah, really exciting. So they're very interesting. I'm going to try and do individual videos for each one, show you some bits and pieces that you can obviously work with around the year. Yeah, you can see why this is approaching 25 minutes, so I'm going to stop talking now. I hope you found it interesting. If there's anything you want to add, please do at the bottom. Obviously, I am on the time clock here. And yeah, I'll be back shortly. Try and catch myself back up again. So I think this is video 7. It might be 6. If it is, you'll see it on the front. Thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe and all of that stuff. And yeah, I've got some boxes to unbox over the weekend, Witch Casket and Witch Box. So you'll be seeing me over the weekend with some boxes and hopefully another one of these videos to get us back started again, because I've been a bit vacant or away with the fairies. See you all soon, guys. Ta-da.